When people dream of becoming ultra-wealthy, the image of a private jet almost always comes to mind. The freedom to skip airport lines, to fly whenever and wherever you want, to dine on caviar and champagne at 40,000 feet. On Instagram, it looks like the ultimate status symbol. But here's the truth. Buying a private jet is only the beginning. The real cost isn't in the purchase price. It's in keeping the jet flying, legal, staffed, and serviced year after year. For billionaires, those numbers are pocket change. For everyone else, they're a financial black hole. And to show you exactly how it works, let's focus on one of the most advanced and luxurious private jets in the world, the Gulfstream G700. This is the plane billionaires buy when they want the best. It's sleek, it's fast, and it has one of the longest ranges of any business jet on the market. But if you think you can just write a check and live happily ever after, think again. Today we're breaking down what it really costs to own a G700, from the eye-watering purchase price to the hidden expenses that never stop coming. Let's begin with the sticker shock. The Gulfstream G700 sells for around $75 million before customization. That price gets you the jet in its basic factory configuration. But billionaires rarely buy basic. They want the full treatment. Custom interiors, rare materials, maybe even marble bathrooms, or gold trim. It's not unusual for interior customization to add another $5 to $10 million to the price. That means a fully kitted out G700 can easily cross $85 million before it ever leaves the factory floor. And here's the part most people forget. Jets are depreciating assets. The moment you buy one, it starts losing value. Within 5 years, a $75 million jet might only be worth $50 million. After a decade, it could be closer to $30 million. So when you see billionaires snapping up new planes, remember, they're not just spending tens of millions up front, they're also swallowing tens of millions in lost value over time. Now, not everyone pays cash. Even billionaires sometimes finance jets through banks or specialized lenders. With financing, you add millions in interest payments over the life of the loan. But the bigger cost is still depreciation. Unlike art or real estate, jets don't appreciate. They wear out. They get replaced by newer models. This is why most ultra-wealthy owners treat jets as tools, not investments, and they know they're sinking money. But for them, time saved and the flexibility gained outweighs the financial hit. Next, let's talk about staffing. You can't just hop into the cockpit of a G700 and fly it yourself. The FAA requires professional pilots, and a jet this size usually carries at least two, a captain and a co-pilot. Each costs between $150,000 and $250,000 per year, depending on experience. Then, you have flight attendants. On a G700, the cabin is big enough that passengers expect full service, meals, drinks, safety checks, and luxury hospitality. Flight attendants add another $80,000 to $120,000 per year each. Add in schedulers, ground crew, and a director of maintenance, and you're easily looking at $1 to $2 million every year just to keep the plane staffed. And this doesn't include benefits, ongoing training, and insurance for the crew themselves, which can drive costs even higher. Jets are thirsty machines. The Gulfstream G700 burns around 500 gallons of fuel per hour. At current prices, that's about $7,000 to $8,000 per flight hour. So let's say you take a transatlantic trip from New York to London. That's about 7 hours. You just burn through $50,000 in fuel one way. Round trip, you're at $100,000 in fuel alone. Over the course of a year, assuming you fly the jet a modest 400 hours, your fuel bill could easily exceed $3 million. And that's if prices stay stable, which they rarely do. Once your jet lands, it needs somewhere to sleep. That's where hangar fees come in. In smaller airports, hangar space might cost $50,000 a year. But at major hubs like New York or Los Angeles, prices skyrocket. In those cities, storing a jet of the G700's size can cost $200,000 to $300,000 per year. Add to that parking and handling fees at each airport you visit. These can range from a few $100s to several thousand per stop, depending on the airport and the services required. This is where the costs get really painful. Jets are subject to some of the strictest maintenance standards in the world. Every certain number of hours flown, they must undergo inspections. These range from routine A checks that take a few days to massive D checks that ground the plane for weeks and can cost millions. For a G700, expect $1 million or more per year in standard maintenance. Major inspections and engine overhauls push that higher, sometimes to $3 million annually. And remember, the more you fly, the faster you hit those inspection milestones. This is one area where being a frequent flyer actually makes things more expensive, not cheaper. Next up, insurance. For a jet like the G700, hull and liability insurance typically runs between $100,000 and $500,000 per year. The exact price depends on where you fly, who your pilots are, and how much coverage you want. It's not just about protecting the jet. Liability insurance is crucial when you're flying passengers. If something goes wrong, lawsuits can stretch into the hundreds of millions. What's the point of owning a G700 if you're not eating like royalty? Private jet catering is on another level. Think truffle risotto, Wagyu beef. Catering costs can run $1,000 to $5,000 per flight. For high-profile owners, it's not unusual to have a personal chef design menus for each trip. Over a year, catering alone can run into the hundreds of thousands. Every time you land, you pay. Landing fees vary by airport, but typically range from a few $100s at smaller airfields to $5,000 or more at major international hubs. Multiply that by dozens of flights per year, and you're looking at six figures annually just in landing fees. Here's a crucial point that most people don't understand. Owning a jet only makes financial sense if it's flying at least 400 hours per year. Why? Because many of the fixed costs, crew salaries, hangar fees, insurance, don't change whether you fly 50 hours or 500 hours. If you only fly occasionally, you're essentially paying millions for a plane that sits idle most of the time. That's why many owners put their jets into charter programs. By renting out their G700 when they're not using it, they can generate income to offset the massive fixed costs. But even here, there's a trade-off. Chartering adds wear and tear, increases flight hours, and exposes the plane to other passengers. Some billionaires refuse to do it because they value privacy above all. Others see it as the only way to make ownership remotely reasonable. When everything is added up, the annual costs of a Gulfstream G700 are staggering. The purchase price alone sits at around $75 million, with another $5 to $10 million if you want the kind of bespoke interior billionaires usually demand. But that's just the beginning. Every year, you'll need to budget between $1 and $2 million for crew salaries, keeping pilots, attendants, and ground staff on standby. Fuel is one of the biggest recurring bills, burning through at least $3 million annually if you're flying the recommended 400 hours. Hangar space isn't free either, and depending on the airport, it can run as high as $300,000 per year just to store the jet. Maintenance is relentless and can swing from $1 million to $3 million annually, especially once you hit major inspections or engine overhauls. Insurance is another necessity, costing between $100,000 and $500,000 a year to cover the jet and liability for passengers. On top of all that, you'll spend hundreds of thousands more on catering, because private jet dining means Wagyu, champagne, and caviar, and landing fees that pile up every time the wheels touch down at major airports. All told, keeping a G700 in the air adds between $4 costs every single year, sitting on top of the original purchase price and its inevitable depreciation. So why do billionaires do it? Because for them, the numbers make sense. If you're running a global empire, your time is worth thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars per hour. Owning a private jet isn't about comfort, it's about leverage. It lets them travel faster, meet more people, close more deals, and live more securely than any commercial airline could provide. For billionaires, a G700 isn't an extravagance. It's a tool, a very expensive one, but one that pays back in ways that go beyond money. So what does it really cost to own a private jet? The purchase price might be $75 million, but that's just down payment on a lifestyle that bleeds millions every year. Unless you're flying at least 400 hours annually and can stomach $5 million in operating costs, you're better off chartering when you need it. For billionaires, the G700 is freedom. For millionaires, it's a liability. That's the brutal truth about private jet ownership. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the real cost behind the luxury, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more content on wealth, power, and the lifestyles of the ultra-rich. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.